Coming up on News 11, SUNY Fredonia will officially become a university on April 1st. President Biden uses his first veto of his presidency against the House. And in entertainment news, Taylor Swift kicked off her highly anticipated Eras tour. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now. Welcome to News 11. I'm Topher Elkins.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik.
Well, after our quick one-week hiatus, we're going to jump right into the stories. SUNY Fredonia is following Buffalo State in becoming an official university as of April 1st. President Stephen Collison made the announcement to the College Council last week on Wednesday. The move was something Collison pushed to help student recruitment efforts. He's noted that universities are considered more prestigious than colleges in academia. He added Wednesday the name change will clear up confusion about the campus and its branding, adding, quote, now we don't have to feel like we are trying to do anything illegitimate, end quote. The switch in status was spurred by rule changes last year about what constitutes a college versus a university within the SUNY system. Many other SUNY branches have taken advantage of the new rules to apply for and receive a university designation. Due to the change in designation, SUNY Fredonia will have to commit in adding more graduate programs for the school.
During an interview on WDOE Radio Monday morning, Mayor Doug Essick announced that he will not be running for a second term as mayor in the village of Fredonia. He stated that right now he has a lot going on in his life and does not see it fit to run for mayor again, but he has not yet ruled out running another campaign for elected office later on down the road. His political career started in 2017 when he first filed a vacant trustee seat, and then in 2018 when he was elected for his first four-year term. He then became mayor in 2019 over Anastasia Landis, where he then achieved and overcame a lot. With first winning the Small Business Revolution competition, and then losing the small business momentum with the COVID-19 pandemic. Right after, he dealt with a 20-day-long boil water advisory in September, which angered many in the village, and then he became sick himself with COVID, where he was placed in the intensive care unit of the UPMC Hammett in Erie, PA. Through it all, as Essick decided to not try to get reelected, he said, quote, between the service I got, the thoughts and prayers, this really has been an amazing experience. I'm just very lucky to be here and to share this with you, end quote. As of right now, Democrats have endorsed Michael Ferguson as Fredonia mayor, and Republicans have yet to put forth any candidate.
The Brockton community is once again showing their generosity by helping a local family going through a tough time. Becky Ross, who is a longtime teacher at Westfield Academy and Central School, has organized a shoe drive through Funds to Org to help a family in need. The Abbey family is currently getting the help from the community as Ryan Abbey, a father of 5, goes through a medical hardship. Ryan was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in early June and has been undergoing treatments for months, including chemotherapy. To treat his disease, he recently underwent a bone marrow procedure thanks to the donation from his oldest son, Blake Abbey. The family recently returned from the Buffalo area after spending months there for Ryan to receive his treatments. Ryan's cancer is now in remission, and he has been cleared to continue his recovery with his family in their home in Brockton. As neither Ryan nor his wife Tanya were able to work during his treatment, as Tanya became his full-time caregiver, the family has been in need. Fortunately, this past fall, the Brockton community had organized a spaghetti dinner fundraiser for the family and raised over $4,000 and another $4,000 through selling t-shirts. Through all of the fundraisers and donations in the past, the community has raised almost $10,000 for the family. Currently, the community is using the shoe donation as another fundraiser where you return unused or lightly used shoes in exchange for monetary return for charitable efforts. Their goal is 100 bags of shoes. With 25 shoes in each bag, they have already received 2 full bags. To set up a time to donate or for more information, contact Becky Ross at 716-679-8452. And for more information on Funds to Org is available online at funds2org.com.
On Saturday night, Amherst police responded to several 911 calls regarding large crowds gathering in the Boulevard Mall parking lot at around 9:15 p.m. According to officials, multiple fights broke out around 9:15 p.m. among the groups gathered, which spanned the mall's lot, as well as Alberta Drive and the nearby Wegmans parking lot. No injuries were reported. However, multiple police departments assisted in response to the gatherings.
A fire broke out on Sunday afternoon at a Lockport City school, Elmet Belknap Intermediate School. 2 classroom smoke alarms went off, but there was no report of any flames. However, Lockport Fire Department Fire Chief Luca Quagliano said, quote, "The windows of the door and the overhead windows were blackened with soot, so it was immediately evident that something had been burning in there," end quote. Fire officials believe charging school tablets are the source of the fire. At least 18 charging tablets were stacked on top of each other. Emmett Belknap was closed both Monday and Tuesday as a result of the fire.
The next step for a Great Lakes cruise tour to make a stop in Buffalo has officially been made. A state agency approved contracts for a cruise ship industry market demand study, an Erie Canal bicentennial visitor experience, and emergency maintenance and restoration services on the outer harbor. With a recent resurgence in passenger cruise ship demand, M&N Engineering was hired to undertake a market study for Buffalo. Passenger cruise ships have served the Great Lakes for hundreds of years, with successful ports currently active from Detroit and Cleveland to Duluth, Minnesota, and Toronto. The study will look at the current state and future prospects of the Buffalo-Niagara region's Great Lakes cruise ship industry and craft a regional strategy. Infrastructural improvements will be identified for a Buffalo home port to determine economic development benefits for constructing a permanent cruise terminal.
It was an exciting weekend for attendees at Iron Smoke Distillery and Mulkernries in Fairport. The host of The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon, stopped by the bars on Friday night to celebrate the St. Patrick's Day weekend. He even got up on stage and performed with local artist Sam Sartori. He was then later spotted at Mulcaroney singing Irish tunes with another local band.
It's that sweet time of year again in Western New York, Maple Weekend. Maple producers all around the area are getting ready to open up their sugar houses to visitors. Visitors can see how maple syrup is made and sample products while learning about the history. The sugar houses will be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. this weekend, March 25th and 26th. This is also a free event, so there will be no admissions fees. According to a release from the Western New York Maple Producers Association, New York is the largest maple producing state in the United States with 2.9 million taps, accounting for approximately 17% of the syrup made in the United States in 2022. A full list of the almost 150 sugar houses open, you can visit mapleweekend.nysmaple.com.
The Walden Galleria just announced that it will be hosting a special Bunny Cares sensory-friendly Easter Bunny visitation event on Sunday. This event is being held in partnership with Cherry Hill Programs and Autism Speaks. It'll take place on Sunday from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the lower level near the Apple Store.
And lastly, for local news, one of Western New York's favorite dive-in spots, Transit Drive-In, announced that it will be opening their doors on April 7th. The announcement was made in a Facebook post in which the drive-in said, and quote, "Get ready for the Super Mario Bros. Movie Under the Stars," end quote. The establishment will begin by operating on weekends only and have said that it will have showtimes updated on its website by April 3rd. And when we come back, we'll have your national headlines, including an update on Biden's first veto as president. We'll be right back.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
President Joe Biden issued his first ever veto on Tuesday. The measure he overturned would forbid retirement fund managers from considering climate change and other social and governance factors when picking investments. They are currently allowed to do so, but Republicans pushed a resolution through Congress to reverse the policy. The resolution only needed a simple majority to pass the Senate, which it got when Senators Joe Manchin and Joe Tester crossed the aisle. Republicans say the rule that allows managers to consider such things is an example of wokeism. Biden says it helps investors when their investment managers can consider climate change and companies that overpay executives. Supporters of the rule pointed out it only gives the managers the ability to think about those considerations. It doesn't force them to.
Amazon is laying off 9,000 employees. This comes after the layoffs of 18,000 workers between November and January. Amazon made the decision as it looks to cut costs, and it took into account the uncertain economy. This round of layoffs will impact the cloud computing, human resources, advertising, and Twitch live streaming businesses, says CEO Andy Jassy in a memo to the staff on Monday. During COVID-19 from 2019 to 2021, the number of employees Amazon had went from 798,000 to 1.6 million all throughout the world. Even with the cuts, Jassy remains optimistic about the company's largest businesses, which are retail and Amazon services, as well as the new divisions it continues to invest in.
Last weekend, there was a close call as nearly two aircrafts collided with each other. The Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, said that a flight going southwest was approaching a runway at Hollywood Burbank Airport in California. An air traffic controller then noticed a helicopter was heading in the same direction. The controller advised the flight to go around. Another close call occurred earlier this month. Last week, the FAA held a safety summit in which they suggested adapting American flight regulations. However, FAA Administrator Billy Nolan says that it is safe to fly, and the FAA is looking into it.
Protests erupted in New York City at the New York City Drag Show Story Hour this past Sunday. Some of the protesters appeared to be members of the far-right group Proud Boys. The protests took place outside of the LGBTQ Community Center in Manhattan's West Village, where New York Attorney General Letitia James was hosting a drag story hour event with drag performers reading children's books to their kids and families. Some of the protesters were arrested, and one protester in particular was charged with assault after reportedly punching someone in the face. Drag has become quite the political topic lately. So far this year, legislators at least 16 states have proposed measures that would restrict drag performances, according to an NBC News analysis. The majority of the bill would limit drag in the presence of children. James released a statement following the protests. She said, quote, "Hate has no home in New York, and I will always fight to ensure our LGBTQ plus siblings' rights are upheld and defended," end quote.
On Monday, a jury convicted the three men accused of murdering rapper XXXTentacion in Florida in 2018 after more than a week of deliberations. The rapper, whose real name is Jasa Onfroy, was shot to death on June 18, 2018, outside River Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, north of Miami, when an SUV blocked his vehicle and two masked gunmen got out of it. According to the authorities, one repeatedly shot at him, and the assailants grabbed a Louis Vuitton bag from the car with $50,000 inside and escaped in the SUV. Dedrick Williams, Trayvon Newsome, and Michael Boatwright were found guilty of first-degree murder and armed robbery in Broward County Court. All three are scheduled to return to court on April 6th for a sentencing hearing and have pled not guilty to all of the charges.
A new study found that more caffeine in your blood reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes. Researchers from Sweden and the UK used genetic markers to link caffeine levels and body mass index. They looked at how quickly people broke down caffeine in the blood, and those with more caffeine in their blood had lower body fat mass. It's been well documented that the amount of body fat a person carries increases their risk of developing diabetes. Therefore, researchers concluded that more caffeine meant lower risk of diabetes. But they weren't able to determine how much caffeine was too much. Now when we come back, Sarah Gorton joins us for our weekly sports update, and Jewel Skiba joins us for our first look at the weather. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, Miss Flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. these stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Take it away, Sarah.
Thank you, Chloe. In local sports this week, while enjoying the warmth in Florida, the Blue Devils women's lacrosse team sent Ohio Northern University packing, following an 18-3 victory last Thursday. 8 different players scored throughout the game, including Erin Woods with 9 goals and Julie Culver with 4. The defense also showed up as Cameron Jacobs and Audrey Brown each forced the Polar Bears to turn over the ball 3 times. Not including tonight's matchup still in progress, the team improves to a 5-2 record and will next play Oneonta at home this Saturday, March 25th. The women's softball team also played in Florida over spring break and came back home with 1 win and 1 loss. On Friday, the Devils fell 6-1 in the first game against the Carthage Firebirds, but then turned it around right after to beat Macalester College. Pitcher Max Solaro shut out Macalester in the first 5 innings and helped lead the team to a 7-4 victory, along with several players who played well at bat. The team will have their next game on home dirt Thursday, March 30th at 3 p.m. In national sports, the Buffalo Sabres' chances of making the playoffs this season are sadly slim to none after they lost their last 4 matches actually. With every game being significant from here on out, it will take a miracle and some losses from other teams in our conference to keep the hope alive. The team already seems to be taking steps towards a more successful next season as they sign goalie Devin Levi to a 3-year entry-level contract only a week after his junior season ended at Northeastern. Although losing a few familiar faces such as Isaiah McKenzie, Devin Singletary, and Tremaine Edmonds to free agency and other NFL teams, the Buffalo Bills are keeping some old and signing some new players. Staying in Buffalo are All-Pro linebacker Matt Milano with a 2-year contract extension, and All-Pro Poe safety Jordan Poyer, who agreed to terms on a 2-year deal. Joining them will be wide receiver Deontay Hardy, a fresh face in Buffalo, who signed a 2-year contract after joining the NFL with the Saints in 2019. With the draft right around the corner, Bills fans will wait and see what other moves the organization will make before the season begins. There was so many names I just had to read off.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We're bringing some fresh faces to Buffalo on both teams. We're going to have to get them all a Happy Meal. I mean, once they get here.
That is the way. That is
what
brings
the way.
them in
That's
and what keeps them there.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's how we get them to stay.
And that's how we're going to go to the Super Bowl.
We get everyone a Happy Meal, and then it solves everything.
We go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a team bonding moment.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. All right. We're now going to toss it over to Jules for our very first forecast of the night. Jules, what do you have for us?
So starting off with your weekend weather for tonight, or with your weather for tonight, we have no rain or snow in the forecast, which is a great thing to see. Tonight, temperatures will reach a low of about 37 degrees with 14-mile-per-hour winds. As for your weather forecast for tomorrow, we've got a 100% chance of rain starting around 5 a.m. and bringing us all through the day. With that being said, don't forget your raincoats and umbrellas and when going to class. Tomorrow, it's expected to be a high of 51 degrees and a low of 36 degrees, which are pretty mild temperatures, excluding the rain. As for wind, you can expect to experience about 13-mile-per-hour winds during the day and about 8-mile-per-hour winds at night. So that's all for your forecast for today and tomorrow. I will be back soon with your weekend forecast. Over to you guys.
And when we come back, we'll have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers.
the Sisterhood of Women in Tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
and even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward
It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping arrived in Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin on Monday. It's his first time in Moscow since Russia invaded Ukraine more than a year ago. The three-day trip is likely to be viewed by the West as a powerful show of support for Putin. The Kremlin says the two plan to strengthen relations and discuss the war in Ukraine, with one-on-one meetings kicking off the visit. The U.S. plans to keep a close eye on developments and watch for any signs that China is moving forward with providing military to Russia.
Japan's space agency has detected organic molecules in an asteroid near Earth. Researchers collected samples from two locations on the carbon-rich diamond-shaped asteroid called Ryugu. Scientists found uracil, one of the building blocks of pRNA, and vitamin B3 or niacin, which is a cofactor for metabolism in living organisms. Researchers previously detected other molecules in Ryugu samples. Uracil and niacin have also been found in meteorites that landed on Earth. These findings are in line with the theory that the building blocks of life originated in space and were delivered to Earth billions of years ago by meteorites. A study detailing the findings published Tuesday in the journal Nature Communications.
Cuban baseball player Ivan Prieto Gonzalez defected from his home country when he didn't board the team flight to Havana on Monday. According to the Miami Herald's Jorge Abreu, Cuba's World Baseball Classic came to an end on Sunday with a 14-2 loss to the United States at Loendon Park in Miami. Prieto served as a bullpen catcher during the tournament. Abreu reported the Cuban players were scheduled to fly out of Miami International Airport to return home on Monday, and when they did, Prieto was absent. A number of baseball players have defected from Cuba over the years, either to pursue an MLB career or simply leave their homeland behind. Toward the final years of his time in office, President Barack Obama sought to ease diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Cuba. President Donald Trump didn't maintain that policy upon assuming the Oval Office. In April 2019, President Trump canceled a deal between MLB and the Cuban Baseball Federation that opened a formal pipeline between the two. The agreement would have allowed Cuban players to compete in the MLB without having to defect. In October of 2021, 11 players defected during the U23 Baseball World Cup in Mexico. And after a short break, we'll be right back with your trending stories. And we'll have one more look at the weekend weather. We'll be right back.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
And for all the Swifties out there, Taylor Swift kicked off her Eras Tour on Friday, March 17th in Glendale, Arizona at the State Farm Stadium. The United States leg of the tour is set to last until August 9th and will end in Los Angeles, California at the SoFi Stadium. International dates are to be announced at a later time. The show is said to last 3 hours, with Taylor Swift performing at least 3 to 4 songs from each of her 13 albums, except for her debut album self-titled Taylor Swift. Swift announced that each show will have different acoustic songs played, so they will all be special and unique.
Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Lana Del Rey are all slated to headline the Lollapalooza 2023. The music festival announced its headliners Tuesday. Promoters also shared that for the first time, a K-pop act will headline at the festival. The performance of Tomorrow X Together will be a milestone for the event. In all, over 170 bands are set to grace 9 different stages in Chicago's Grant Park during the festival. Lollapalooza is slated to run from August 3rd to August 6th.
Snoop Dogg is expanding his business empire to now include coffee. The rapper and entrepreneur has partnered with an Indonesian businessman to market and sell products made from the Indonesian coffee beans. The name of the company is Indo XYZ. Snoop Dogg says he has been a lifelong fan of coffee, going back to long nights working in music studios. He says his business partner introduced him to Indonesian coffee, and that it only took one sip and he was hooked. The coffee venture will be alongside Snoop Dogg's other businesses, including a wine label, cannabis products, pet accessories, and gluten-free cereal. That's a lot of different things.
That's silly.
I think the most important question is, what is your favorite Taylor Swift song? If you can pick one.
Oh God.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I mean, I feel like you had to. I feel like you had to assume it was coming. I feel like we're pretty good about this banter thing. Like you had to know it was coming eventually. Like Jules is gonna know. I'm gonna ask her too. So.
Okay. Well, now she got a heads up. I did not.
Yeah, she gets a heads up.
Okay, mine's Love Story.
Love Story.
Iconic. It was my childhood. I listened to it like
valid.
It's like a nostalgic for me, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So now I
Did
I
you
have
put yourself
two.
on the
No,
spot?
I have two. I
Okay.
really like Mean, and I really like Story of Us. Those are two of my favorite
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
Story of Us is a really good one. I think, okay.
That's a good one.
But, okay. I know, I'm happy about today's weather, but based on what I've seen reading the script, I know it's not great for the weekend. But get the fun stuff out of the way first. Jules, what is your favorite T Swift song?
Don't be mad at me, but I'm really not a Taylor Swift fan.
Red flag.
However, I did not know that she had 13 albums, which is... That's crazy. That's gonna be a long show. She's gonna be tired. She's gonna need like a lot of tea for her throat. Like I'd lose my voice at that point. Wait, I didn't even make that connection.
I literally just now. That's right. I was like, I'm not a Swiftie either.
All right, well, let's move on from Taylor Swift and let's talk about our weekend forecast starting with Friday. So we are expecting to see no rain, which is good, but a little bit of a cloudy day with high temperatures of 41 degrees and low temperatures of about 31 degrees, which is slightly cooler than the past few days have been. However, the wind is expected to be more calm at about 7 miles per hour and no sights of rain or snow during the day. However, you can expect some rain showers later. As for Saturday, we are seeing a high of 59 degrees and a low of 36 degrees with rain through most of the day and 25 mile per hour winds. Saturday is going to be another day you'll want to grab your umbrellas despite the warm temperatures. And to end your weekend, Sunday will be a high of 40 degrees and a low of 33 degrees. You should also expect some rain and high winds again at 23 miles per hour. Unfortunately, the warm weather won't last all through the weekend, but with that being said, back to you guys.
I don't know if I can complain though, because we are like above the freezing temp consistently. So like, you kind of just have to expect rain with the spring. Like,
I'm okay with it. If it's gonna be 51 degrees and rain a little bit.
I think,
Or
like
all
if it
day,
actually
it's
hits,
fine.
if it hits 59, I don't think I can be mad. Like,
Yeah,
I'm okay
that's a
with
lot.
it.
That's
Just
a lot.
I don't need snow anymore. I think I'm over the snow. Like we're officially into spring. Look, I live in a pond. I live like next to a pond, and they basically we're at the point of the season where like you see the tadpoles and stuff. When I was a little kid, I loved it. So like I don't need them to get snowed on. What is it? It's like because there's like tadpoles. It's like axolotl, something random like that. Like it's like there's like the stages. I don't know. This has been an episode. All right, guys. We took spring break off. We're rusty. We're good.
We're
but
fine.
that does it for our News 11 for this week. As always, thank you to everyone from behind the scenes crew.
And of course, thank you to everyone watching at home. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.